Silent Hill Shattered Memories. I just beat this game a few days ago, and it was awesome. People have said that Silent Hill needed a reboot, and they said that Silent Hill 4 was that reboot, and that made me really depressed because I didn't like Silent Hill 4, and I didn't play Origins or Homecoming. However, Homecoming looked like it wasn't my kind of game. First of all, just because they brought a bunch of things back from previous Silent Hills, basically just as fan service. Like they put Pyramid Head in there just so the fanboys could squeal and say, "Oh my God, it's Pyramid Head!" Which I hate when game developers do that, or movie makers or anything. It pisses me off and turns me off to the product they're trying to get sell to me. So I was against Homecoming from that aspect, even without having played it. And maybe that's unfair, but don't care. Silent Hill Shattered Memories is the way that it should have been rebooted. Or redone and reimagined. It's technically a remake of Silent Hill 1, and I say technically because it does have characters in it that are named the same as in Silent Hill 1. It starts the same as Silent Hill 1, and it has the same settings in Silent Hill for the most part that Silent Hill 1 had. However, how the characters behave, vastly different than Silent Hill 1. The way they interact with Harry, vastly different. I think they added some characters too, took out some characters, and the entire plot is different, completely different. They stepped away from the cult and the whole rebirth of God thing, which I appreciated because it didn't really do it for me. I thought it was pretty cool, but it wasn't my favorite. My favorite Silent Hill, of course, was Silent Hill 2. And this game plays a lot more like Silent Hill 2, in that the whole time you're playing it, it focuses more on the psychological aspect, and it focuses more on trying to keep you guessing on what reality is, and what's real and what's fake, and what is just in the mind of the protagonist. And they do a really good job of that by the system that they implemented, which is as they put it, the game plays you while you play the game. And what they mean by that is certain objects that you examine, there's no examine button in the game. What you do is you zoom in with your flashlight. And when you do, if you zoom in for a second, Harry will comment on what you zoomed in on. And based on what objects you examine in that way, it will affect how the game plays out. It will affect how certain settings look, how people look, how you look, how people act towards you and how you act towards them in cutscenes, and most notably affects the ending. And just to say, there are 9 endings, technically 9 regular endings. There are 3 first halves of an ending, and there are 3 second halves of an ending. So technically there's 9, but not really. And then there's the 10th, which is the UFO ending, which I have not gotten. I don't want to know what happens because I want it to be a shock to me when it happens, and I will be getting it during the Let's Play. Anyway, back to the psychological aspects. They also break up chapters of the game with you sitting in a psychiatrist's office and him discussing things with you and asking you questions, and based on how you answer those questions, it shapes the game, just like examining objects. And he always has a quiz for you, like a little quiz, like showing a bunch of pictures of people and saying which of these people do you think are just sleeping, and which of them do you think are dead? Which is a really disturbing test to give to somebody. But and there's that, and which of these people do you think are in couples with each other? They have a bunch of single pictures of people, and you group them together by which couples they are, and that affects your game a lot. Anyway, the game, I loved it. It was the first game in a long time that made me want to play it. I've played through a lot of games recently, and I've beaten games recently. However, I beat them basically just to say that I did. However, Silent Hill Shattered Memories, I beat it because I wanted to see what happened. I cared about what happened, and I wanted to see what happened next to Harry and all the rest of the characters. So I will give the game that. It had, to me, an incredible plot, an incredible setting, a great atmosphere, great characters, great interactions between the characters, and it kept the intrigue going very well. And the ending I did not expect at all. The ending was very strange, and I'll have to think about exactly what happened and how it all fits together. But anyway, I'm not going to get into the plot any. You'll see that during the Let's Play. You'll see a version of the plot in the Let's Play. However, for the game, it is very lucky for it that the plot and the characters and the atmosphere and all that was so good, because the gameplay. They added something I really liked, the PDA, which is basically an iPhone. You can make calls. There are lots of phone numbers throughout the game that you can call and hear various conversations or voicemails based on those numbers. Some of the numbers you have to call to solve some puzzles. There's also a camera feature on it, which there are secrets throughout the game of like these ghost images that you can take pictures of, and you get a voicemail, a memory imprint from that. And also, there are hidden echo locations where your flashlight will start flickering and you'll start hearing static. When you get close to the object, you'll get a voicemail on your phone, which is the conversation that occurred when the memory was imprinted on a certain location. It's very strange. So not only do you have the main plot going, but you also have all these side plots going on in every location of a different group of people and how screwed up they are. And they are very screwed up to varying degrees. Now, however, the puzzles, most disappointingly to me, there are not really puzzles. There are things that you have to go and solve, but I wouldn't call them puzzles. Most of them involve you finding the container you're supposed to open, and then opening it in whatever fashion you have is required, and getting an object out of it. Now, there are some good puzzles in there involving the camera and calling phone numbers. You have to call certain phone numbers to get clues and hints. And there are stuff like that, but the puzzles aren't difficult at all, which is something Silent Hill was kind of known for. Every game that I played, 1 through 4, had puzzles in it that were fairly difficult, especially in the first 3. Very difficult puzzles, and especially if you put them hard. And this game doesn't have that. The puzzles are incredibly easy. They don't make you. They're not the big brain benders and difficult things where you have to write it down and do mathematics and look up literature and stuff. There's none of that. They're all pretty simple, which was disappointing. I was hoping for some more difficult puzzles, and there is no combat in this game, which I fear is what a lot of people are gonna be against. What happens is this game also changes the Otherworld option. Like, instead of going to like a rusted out, dirty looking world, whenever Harry crosses in the Otherworld, it's a frozen over wasteland. And when that happens, monsters will come out of the ice, and they'll be shaped based on how you've been progressing through the game as well. They can wildly vary in how they look. However, they always behave the same, which is disappointing, of course, as well. But you can't fight them. There's no fighting them. You just run your ass off. And having this feature of things that you need to go towards are lit up in a blue glow, kind of like in Mirror's Edge, where things are lit up in red if you can go to them. This game lights up exits and ledges that you can jump onto in blue during these segments. And it's basically just run your ass off and try to get to the other side before they kill you, which is a good feature. I enjoyed those segments. However, I know some people will miss being able to fight, but I never fought in Silent Hill games, really, except for boss battles, and combat was never really what Silent Hill was known about, so I don't care that there was no combat. what I care about is that the lack of puzzles. So anyway, it's an incredibly good game. If you like the horror genre of video games, I suggest getting it, especially if you liked Silent Hill 1 or 2. More so 2, because it's a lot more like 2 than 1. Anyways, I'm going to be doing Let's Play of it between sessions of Fallout 3 when I'm waiting for you guys to vote on the sessions. And anyways, I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you in the LP.